Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching, it is appreciated as always. Now if you like this video, consider liking and subscribing, it does help the channel out a lot. There's been some developments in Parliament about the sectarian nature of our United Kingdom, and I thought I'd bring up the particulars and bring us all up to date in case you aren't familiar. I was going to say earlier this year. Last year, there was an incident regarding a Israeli football team being banned, their fans basically being banned in Birmingham, and they weren't allowed to attend. Now, West Midlands police at the time floated the idea that they were afraid of violence from both sides, both of the away fans and the local community. Alright, I think we all know who we're referring to when we say local community. It's come out in the wash, it's come out in Parliament, that's not actually true. So we're going to have a look at this first of all. West Midlands police banned Maccabi Tel Aviv fans because they had intelligence that elements of the community were going to arm themselves. It just gets worse. They lied to avoid dealing with the violent Islamists. Chief Constable Craig Guilford needs to go. That's the first thing we've got to say. This is in relation to an article that came out in the Times, so I'm going to read part of the article now. The report reveals that the police initial concern about safety was prompted not by the behaviour of Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, but a high-confidence intelligence received on September the 5th that references to elements of the community in the West Midlands wanting to arm themselves. The review said that this particular facet of the scenario that continued to develop, that potential disorder wouldn't follow the typical pattern of an away versus home game, rather open hostility of non-football issues between away and the local community. The local community that's been important to the United Kingdom, nobody voted for, and now is creating sectarian tensions of foreign conflicts all over the UK. Who voted for this? Who wants this? Answers in the comments below would be appreciated. But this mirrors a greater pattern. It's not specifically Israeli fans or the Muslim community in Birmingham or Manchester or London or Glasgow or any other major city that they've colonised. It's not necessarily that particular thing I wanted to focus on. This is a broader picture, and it's regarding what happens because of idiotic legislation, however well-meaning, like the Equalities Act 2010 and the Race Relations Act from the 1970s, I believe. It creates a two-tiered society, whereas if you're from an ethnic minority, you get the kid gloves. Look at the way they dealt with the Leeds riot, the Harehills riots a few years ago regarding the child safeguarding issue. The local, diverse community kicked up stink locally regarding a legitimate safeguarding issue of a child. They rioted, they pillaged, they burnt that part of the city to the ground, and the child was returned. When something happened with the white indigenous community in Southport, and they done a similar disorder, what happened? Full force of the law. This is two-tier society. And on the back of that, when the Muslim communities and ethnic minority communities in certain major urban areas like Birmingham were confronted by the police, they were armed and they were told to put the weapons in the local mosque. Can you imagine that? You and your buddies, people that look like me, walking down the street, kitted up with big weapons. Can you imagine any police officer saying to you, can you leave your weapons to one side? Can you put them in your local church? We'll look after them for you, you can pick them up later. Would that ever fucking happen? No, it wouldn't. Anyway, back to the point. I've got a clip now, and this is in Parliament today, in a committee where the police openly admit now that it was over the fact that the locals, the new British, were going to arm themselves and they were going to kick up a fuss. So I'm going to play these clips now.
Why is it that there's a report that's come at lunchtime today from the Times newspaper that you had information on the 5th of September that there were likely to be vigilante groups in the West Midlands community itself who were planning to take action against the Maccabi fans? How is it that this committee is just hearing this?
I think this is the first time specifically that you've asked for that detail. That's what we tried. That's what we tried to get across.
Absolutely
That's-
outrageous.
This is the police, one of the high-ranking police officers down in the West Midlands, openly admitting what the Times is reporting, that locals are threatening to arm themselves and attack Israelis. This is the issue. And it mirrors the issue that happened in the wake of Southport 2 years ago. It mirrors exactly the same thing. The police telling their local communities, down tools, down your weapons, is exactly the same thing. But this is worse. This is worse because this is telling people they can't come to the UK. I'm not making a comment on it as well here, just anyone, because the local community is saying, right, they're not welcome and we're gonna kick 7 tons of shit out of them if they come. And the police saying, right, we don't want to riot, so we're not going to allow it. And that's what it's about. Now, sectarianism in the United Kingdom, you usually get a bit of it in Scotland regarding the Glasgow, or on the Central Belt between Celtic and Rangers. You get a bit of it there, but mostly it's confined to Northern Ireland. But this has been imported to the mainland, and we never voted for it, and this is sickening. So that police chief needs to go. I'm sure you can all agree that that clown needs to go. If he's not policing without fear or favour, he's policing with fear. He's afraid of the local Muslims or the local diverse community. And then we'll get on to the second clip. This is Katie Lamb. This is in Parliament today. She's one of the few good Tory MPs. She sounds genuine. I still don't trust the Tories, but she sounds genuine. So I'm going to play the clip now.
Apparent that West Midlands Police retrospectively created a rationale and, according to remarkable investigative work by the Sunday Times, false evidence to justify their predetermined decision to ban fans from the world's only Jewish state from going to a football match in Britain's second city. Does the Minister think that the Chief Constable of such a force can possibly be overseeing effective community policing? And how can he continue in his role?
Minister.
The Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, and the whole government has been very clear that we believe that the wrong decision was made on this front, and we have asked the inspector to look at what happened in two parts. One is what happened in particularly around this match itself.
I want to be very clear. The police, since about 1997, have what's known as operational independence from the Home Secretary. However, the Home Secretary does reserve the right to actually overrule a local decision if they feel it's not appropriate. So the Home Secretary at the time could have overruled this decision. So they can lament, they can get up on the pedestal in Parliament and say, well, we don't agree with that decision. The reality is you could have overruled it if you chose to, and you chose not to. So you're complicit, the entire Labour Party is complicit, and we know exactly why they are complicit, because many of their front bench MPs are on wafer-thin majorities, they're hanging on by their knicker elastic, and they're going to be ousted at the next election by independent MPs for Gaza. So we'll continue.
And a wider look at the police role when it comes to safety advisory groups and how these decisions are made. We had been expecting that information before the end of the year, but because the Home Affairs Select Committee has recalled and will be seeing again the West Mids Chief Constable tomorrow, it will be slightly delayed to take that into account, but we need to wait and see what the inspector says, and that's what we will do, and that's the right thing to do.
A lot of words there, a lot of words salad, but not saying anything substantive. So in short, your typical Labour politician. They're not going to change, they're not going to do anything remotely resembling something that could work. I'm going to leave this clip here. We'll finish on what Nick Timothy is one of the other few remaining decent Tory MPs, but he mentioned he's quite hard on the Islamification of Britain, so we're going to read out what he said here. What was left of the credibility of the West Midlands Police has been destroyed today. We learned that earlier that their initial reason for barring Israelis from the Villa Park was the danger of 2 away fans from armed locals. But to justify the ban, they portrayed the Israelis as uniquely violent and militarily trained. They used intelligence, supposedly from the Dutch police, that's been utterly repudiated by the Dutch police and other authorities. And when the Home Affairs Select Committee asked why the vital information about the danger to Israelis was suppressed or kept secret, the Chief Constable ludicrously said it's because we've not specifically asked for that information. In other words, we won't tell you the truth because you didn't ask a specific question about the thing that we didn't know and we didn't know you had been told. Yes, this was the defence. He's too arrogant to resign. The Home Secretary has the power to remove him under Section 40 Police Act 1998. She should use it. I don't think they will. I really don't think they will. The police need to be even-handed. They need to treat everybody the same. But while we've got legislation like the Equalities Act and the Race Relations Act, this cannot happen. Special people get special privileges and they get kid gloves. Now, if you look like me, white British, speak well, can articulate yourself, can actually, defend yourself if questioned by the police, they may not have much success arresting me. Many people may not be in that position, and that's what I'm concerned about. Read up, know your rights, know what the police can and can't do, and make sure that every freedom that can be afforded to you under the law is afforded to you. It's clear, when you get certain demographics in the major urban centres, they run the show. And this is what needs to be called out, which is what I'm doing here. Equality before the law is what we need to have. Now, if you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. Comment, share. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm overstating things. Have a good day and thank you for watching.